We just saw Neighbors, the new Seth Rogen, Zac Efron comedy. And the way this show works is we will give you a quick, did we like it or not, version of our review. And if it sounds like a movie that you want to go and watch, turn the review off and go check it out before we get into spoilers and things like that. And then after we've kind of given our initial impressions, we'll dive in a little bit more and talk about some of the stuff we liked and didn't like. This is a good comedy. It's a good R-rated comedy. It's, Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, were the producers on it. They didn't write it, but it's got a similar vibe to something like This Is the End. It's good comedy. There's the four main leads of the movie, Seth Rogen, Rose Byrne as the couple versus Zac Efron and Dave Franco as the college kids. They all had funny bits. They worked well with each other, in the different ways that they interacted with one another. There were some really funny sequences, some really funny jokes, really funny gags. It's got a little bit of the R-rated shock humor in it that you would expect from the guy that wrote Superbad. I mean, not that he wrote this, but it's got a little bit of that in it. Not extreme, not like overly offensive, but definitely an R-rated comedy. And yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, This Is the End. Definitely, fans of that movie would like this. It's got some of the college humor story going on as well, because it's a fraternity house. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good comedy.
Yeah, me too. What struck me as different from the trailer, if you've seen the trailer, is it's not all from the point of view of like the frat house kind of thing. It's kind of like that just serves as background. It's really kind of cool. It's a little bit of a coming of age story, kind of blended in there. Mm-hmm. It's enjoyable. It's very entertaining, funny, lots of funny moments. The whole thing about the new family versus the whole frat thing, and the two guys, Zac Efron and Seth Rogen, the two characters they play, are both kind of hitting a stage in their lives, maybe a decade apart. And that they're both kind of having to grow up a little bit. But it's for me it was totally entertaining.
Yeah. So don't let us spoil any of the jokes. If it sounds like a movie that you'd like,
get it fresh.
Shut this off. Go check it out. There's some good things in there that are worth getting without any spoilers. I liked the character development on all of the characters, really. Mm-hmm. Seth Rogen, actually, his character his character's pretty much the lead of the movie. We see the most of him, and he's Seth Rogen playing Seth Rogen. I mean, it's who you expect him to be. He just happens to be married to Rose Byrne. She's really great in this. I get the feeling that she was just so thankful to actually be able to use her real voice, because she's Australian and she uses her Australian accent, and her character is Australian. Like they go so far as to explain in the movie that
they make good use of that too with the dean thing.
Yeah. Lisa Kudrow pops up as the dean. But Rose Byrne I really like. Zac Efron is great as the fraternity guy. They give him a lot of development. He's a very, well-rounded character. And Dave Franco is also really well-rounded and has some really great comedy, and also some really good grounded, more dramatic moments. I still think the highlight, and Dave Franco does a lot of good stuff in this movie, but the highlight to me still is him doing
the Robert De Niro impression.
Meet the Fockers, Robert De Niro in the Robert De Niro party, which is in the trailer, but that...
It plays out better as you actually see it.
Yeah, if you watch that whole scene, in the context of that scene, it's just great. Like, he's just, nailing every one of those lines.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Jinxie the cat.
Jinxie cat, yeah. So, yeah, it's there's this great sequence where you might see a little bit more of Seth Rogen than you really bargained for. He's got some nudity in this movie. There's some good, like...
It's almost comical, the shirtless Zac Efron and the shirtless Seth Rogen.
Versus shirtless Seth Rogen.
It's like a manatee and a dolphin.
Well, and they set this thing up where... like they keep showing like Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne's characters like trying to like keep their sex life going while they have a baby, and you see a lot of Seth Rogen naked, but Rose Byrne always has like a shirt on, and the movie explains this as that she's sort of self-conscious about being like a breastfeeding mother, and she's real sensitive, and she doesn't want him to see like the way she looks like that.
Yeah.
And then it builds up to this payoff
where we get to see
when you actually get to see what they look like. That is just hysterical.
And it's not sexy.
No. There's also the whole realization of how they can pay off the flood damage in the basement. Which is great. They do castings of their penises and make dildos and sell them to like all the college girls.
Well, so the couple, Seth Rogen and Burns, they flood the frat house basement.
Yeah.
And they know that they're students, they don't have any ability to pay for it, so they come up with this amazing idea of why are they just standing there with their dicks in their hands, make dildos and sell them.
Dicks in our hands.
That's right.
Dicks in our hands. And it's great. It's like it's over the top when it needs to be. It has enough like charm and character. It's a pretty amazing R-rated comedy.
It's not like a party movie. It's not. There's like real like there's a good story flow.
I'd say it's more like American Pie. Like not as big a cast as American Pie, but it's got kind of that sort of sensibility about it where it can go completely bonkers, but it also has some grounded stuff in it.
It's threaded together. Yeah.
And everybody gets to be funny. Like the police guy that shows up gets to be funny. Rose Byrne's not just there to be the wife; she's got funny lines.
Yeah, no one's just there as filler.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of it's nicely played out.
It's a well-rounded movie. Christopher Mintz-Plasse shows up because he's in everything, but he's funny. He's got some good lines in it, Dave Franco. I honestly think like Zac Efron is fine, and he's obviously like really good looking and really like well built and everything. I personally prefer Dave Franco. Overall, I liked his character.
Just his delivery and how
and he just like everything he did really connected. Like,
it was right on. I was amazed. I mean, the whole movie essentially takes place in a couple of houses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like bits and pieces at work, but it's essentially in this little neighborhood with two houses. And it was about 3/4 of the way through the movie, I realized that. I'm like, wow, this is pretty much all taking place in this little part of a street.
Did you see This Is the End?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the same deal where like they're all just hanging out at the house.
Yeah. There's enough going on, though, that it doesn't feel small. It feels like there's enough going on. That's plenty.
Yeah. And this movie, like, there's the frat house, there's Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne's house, and then there's really only a couple of other scenes that take place other places. There's like the dean's office that they go to for one scene. They go to Abercrombie and Fitch for a scene. But yeah, you're right. It is very contained, and I think that works in its favor.
Yeah, totally.
You're not trying to figure out where you are, what's going on. It's totally, Yeah, it
totally works.
They explore what it's like when the two households get along.
Yeah.
They explore what it's like when they're fighting.
Yeah.
And coming full circle.
Well, it should be like that because, like, essentially the story's about, like, loyalty, home, family. The frat house is kind of a family of its own, and they're their own little family with their kid. And so, they're getting to that age where they want to kind of protect that, and then this is a threat to that. So it's kind of like, I like how that all plays out,
And they're also dealing with feeling like kind of getting caught between wanting to still be young and party, but
Yeah,
also
wanting to
being
still be cool, but
responsible.
now we have a
parents.
house and a baby, and yeah.
Yeah. I was happy too that in the trailer they made it look like the whole baby calendar thing was going to be a big subplot in the movie.
Right.
And that really wasn't.
No.
They only used that at the very, very end.
And for good effect.
They use it for... they just show you the Heisenberg thing that they show in the trailer. And then at the end, they actually do, like, the main cast, instead of showing, like, Seth Rogen, they show the baby dressed as
up
Seth
like
Rogen.
Seth. Yeah, that's good.
Which is pretty funny. The baby dressed as Lisa Kudrow is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's wisely where they chose to end the actual picture. So, yeah, if you're up for an R-rated comedy and we haven't just ruined everything for you, like if you
there's plenty of stuff.
it's great.
Plenty of gags.
So definitely check it out. Check out the rest of our reviews here on YouTube and all the written reviews and videos at DaleMaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.